Good morning and welcome to our second room inside Conscious Leaders in Business. I am so excited to get this going. I'm just going to give this a moment. To let people know that we are here. In fact, for those of you who are new in the space, say hello. Say hello in the chat, even if you're watching on replay. I'll come back and look at your comments. This is Hannah Cremona speaking. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a business strategist and mindset coach. I work with solo entrepreneurs and business owners to strategically and effectively build and grow their business in the online space. I also coach and mentor executives in the corporate space and undertake consultancy work for projects that they're working on, as well as training their staff on soft skills. I am currently tuning in from Malta. So for those of you who are new to me, say hi and join in. I'm just going to give this a quick share. Hey, Henrik. Hey, Henrik. I, for some reason, just cannot see you. Okay. Let's refresh a little bit. Here you are. Do you want to speak? I'm going to invite you to speak. Come up on the stage as we welcome other people in. So conscious leaders in business is a space that is new, that I created, and I'm really excited and I'm really looking forward to nurturing this space and just coming together. It's all about coming together. For me, it was the result of really asking myself, how is it that I want to lead, and how is it that I want to serve more with more impact this 2023, this coming year and beyond, of course. And I kept getting the words community, I kept getting the words networking, I kept getting the words adding value to people's lives. And so this is how the space was created. It was really created from that desire to be in community. And I know that in the last few months that I have been navigating various spaces and expanding my social circles, my networking circles, and really having these deep conversations with people across multiple disciplinaries, fields, levels of expertise, different industries. And that is really where the magic happens, right? For me, that is really where the magic happens. And that has really activated something in me that had been missing for a while. And so I wanted to recreate the space on an international level, of course. We have people tuning in from Northern Europe. I'm in the south of Europe. Last week, we had people tuning in all the way from New Zealand, and Australia and the UK and Switzerland and Spain. And like, this is the magic. This is the magic that we get to create together for the betterment of others. And like, this is the impact. This is the footprint. This is the fingerprint we leave and we create in people's lives and beyond. What we're doing here together gets to change, gets to empower others, not only in the moment. Well, it depends what they do with the information, right? But these conversations have the power of really changing the course of people's lives, healing past traumas, and just creating new stories, rewriting the stories for generations to come. So let's hi Pratik, we're just getting started. If anyone wants to speak, today's topic is about sustainable secrets. Now, well, not so much secrets. So let me start by introducing what do I mean by sustainable. What does it mean, sustainability? Now, for us leaders in business, whether you're a solo entrepreneur, you're a business owner, we look at the obvious, the financial sustainability, the business strategic sustainability. Do I have the right infrastructure to grow my business? Is my strategy sustainable? Does it generate enough leads? Does it convert enough leads? And we talk a lot about this, right? We really talk a lot about this. And just on this point, actually, about financial stability, business stability, infrastructure, and all of these things. I was actually at the hairdresser last week, and I was saying, like, you've really done well for yourself over the years. I had been with her since I don't know for how long. Let's say well over a decade when she started in her hairdressing in her little room in her mom's house. And I've watched her grow into various spaces, then having her own salon, which has become a very busy place with many other hairdressers working with her. She's grown her team. She has a lot of clients coming in and have remained with her over the years. And I asked her, how are things going? It seems really busy. Well done. And she's like, yes, but you know what? Yesterday was too busy and I did not like it. And I was like, what do you mean? Elaborate. She told me it was so busy. The phone was constantly ringing and no one could pick it up. We had clients sitting everywhere. We had people waiting. We had women waiting outside the salon. They have little like chairs and tables outside, like sort of little cafe outdoor waiting area, but it's on the porch, it's on the front road, with dye in their hair. Like, that's a big no-no. We had people getting their nails done and having a blow dry at the same time. We had people waiting to get their hair washed. We had it was chaos. It looked like a bazaar, she said. And and this is all signs of, well, success. However, she was saying, I don't want to ever experience that again. I don't want any of my clients to experience that chaos ever again inside my salon. I don't want my employees, my team, my staff to experience that stress, that stressful work environment. And so when we think about growth and sustainability and success and all of these things, we also need to remember that people are coming through our business having an experience, right? So I just wanted to bring that story in. Like, how sustainable is that? Do I have the right infrastructure for growth? Can I hold it, right? Because when we become successful, can we hold the growth there? The other part of sustainability we look at is people and the planet. Does my work leave a positive long-term impact? Can it be repeated without depleting resources or cause of any injustice? Is it socially responsible? Is it environmentally responsible? So it depends on the nature of your business, right? So we always come back to these main pillars: infrastructure, strategy, people. Now, what I'm really here to talk about today is the leadership side. We are here as leaders, whether you're a coach, a teacher, a guide, whether you're a consultant, a mentor, or whether you have a product-based business or a larger business. How are we navigating ourselves in the business? This is coming from some conversations I've been having recently. And a lot of the time we talk about the old way of doing business. We talk about the toxic patterns and behaviors that many of us have sort of took on from the corporate world. And a lot of us have seen, in one way or another, whether you've worked in corporate or not, many of us have experienced the burnout, the stress, the frustration, even the resentment, even when there's so much love and passion for the work and for the job. For whatever reason, we entered into burnout and stress. For whatever reason, we have entered fear-based living and fear-based working. It has built a lot of resentment, anger, frustration, to the extent that a lot of us called quits on the corporate world to build something new, right? And what happens in that process is that if we don't heal that, and if we're not aware of those things, because let's face it, a lot of us would blame it on the job. The job is not right for us anymore. The industry is not right for us. The work environment was not right for us. The boss was not right for us, etc. We bring in these old habits and behaviors into the new spaces that we're creating. Now, what's going to happen? Well, we're going to create the same cycles over and over and over again. We're going to create environments that cause us stress. We're going to create situations that are going to have us in burnout. And this is where now we decide to break the patterns and the habits and create new, healthy, sustainable habits that work for us. My habits, my success secrets might be very different to yours, okay? Let's start. I'll share my own for the sake of resetting the room. This is Sustainable Success Secrets Inside Conscious Leaders in Business on Clubhouse, being recorded for those of you who are watching on replay on other platforms. I welcome you inside in this club. This is really an opportunity for you to come and share your voice, to come and share your insights, to come and network, connect with other like-minded people, connect with others who are not particularly even in your field or in your industry. And this is where we really get to expand our horizons and really get to come into community to support one another through any challenges that we are facing, but also to learn from each other and offer insights and offer advice. I know many of you in my space are experts in your areas and have a lot of valuable knowledge to share, as well as your experiences and your firsthand journeys that would benefit, empower, inspire, activate other people who are tuning in. So that is an invitation to come and join us inside Conscious Leaders in Business. So, success. Let's start by saying that success is subjective to your own personal and business goals, I believe. Let me know if you're on the same page. I love that, by the way, Henrik is currently in the room with me making sourdough bread. Let me know when you're ready to come and speak. Feel free to raise your hand at any time. So for me, success is subjective, right? My version of success may be different to yours. And this can look like, in our business, money goals, income goals. You know, I am a big advocate. I am a business strategist. So when it comes to profits, when it comes to monetization, when it comes to cash flow, these are all key and very important for the sustainability of your business. What are the other habits that we want to look at towards creating that? So if we had to let me rephrase, money, income goals, these are byproducts of the actions that we take. These money, income goals, clients are byproducts, the results of the actions that we're taking. So when we're looking at sustainable success tips, hacks, secrets, whatever you want to call them, right? I just love the SSS thing. Maybe you want to look at, for example, maybe for you success is overcoming or shifting patterns that no longer serve you. For example, you see that, coming on social media and scrolling aimlessly is not serving you because you're wasting time, therefore not having enough time to actually create content and be part of the conversation. Maybe you want to change that to seeking specific content or not getting on, not tuning in, not switching on the social media, not switching on the television when you don't need to, right? It's like time fillers. We call this procrastination. Or perhaps you want to introduce new habits like getting dressed and groomed, even though you're working from home and maybe you don't have calls that day. But for me, I notice my energy shifts when I maintain that level of routine and getting dressed and feeling good and grooming up, right? It doesn't always mean wearing pencil skirts and heels, like I never really did that anyway. But you know what I mean. So it's so important also to remember that success is a journey. I have been having a lot of conversations. I've been invited on various podcasts and interviews, whether that is by myself or in groups. Actually, I've had a really, really interesting 3-hour conversation just earlier this week on Simon Cardinal's podcast called Trench Leadership. And this is coming out very soon. I'm sure I'm going to have to create a room that is going to be at a different time so that we can have conversations with the folks that I spoke with. We spoke about failures, we spoke about the lessons that we learned, we spoke about leadership, conscious leaderships, servant leadership, and all of these things. And what I really took from it, I mean, I have I don't know how many pages of notes that I can share with you. But one thing I want to share today is a reminder. And I think this is a really good reminder when I look back and I review my 2022 activities and the journey that I've been going through on a personal and professional level, is that facing challenges and facing adversities in life or in business are not failures. We tend to look at them as failures because this is happening, that means I'm failing. Because this is not happening or not happening, then I am failing. What if we just change the whole story? What if we change the story and say challenges and adversities are part of the journey towards success? The fact that I am walking through the adversity, walking through with the challenges, overcoming the challenges one step at a time, for me, that is already success in itself. So it's changing our mind. It's changing our attitude. It's changing our perspective. It's changing the mindset, and the way we look at success and failure. And what we spoke about a lot in this podcast, and I'm so excited. I mean, it's probably going to take time. It's a 3-hour conversation between 4 or 5 people. When it's out, you guys will definitely know. But it's really about also being in the trenches as leaders, as business owners, as CEOs, as coaches, as mentors, as guides, as consultants, whatever label you want to put on your work, right? It's really about being in the trenches. We cannot, with integrity, lead others without going through the shit, without going through the mud, without knowing what it's like. Yes, of course, perhaps we would not know everything that our clients may be going through, right? We're all on different paths. We all have different challenges and adversities to deal with and to navigate. That's part of the life. That's part of probably our soul's purpose on this planet, in this lifetime, in this timeline. But when you get to look your colleague, your employee, your staff, your client in the eyes and say, hey, it's okay. I know exactly where you've been. Maybe you can share a story to tell them. What is the next step? Give them your hand. Tell them that you have built the bridge already, that you have crossed it. Tell them you know exactly where they are. This is how we can really lead with integrity. So when we talk about success, what are you thinking about? And I'm going to share what I feel and what I believe are my sustainable success secrets, if you like. Okay, and the first one is consistent focused action. So if I had to pick 3, it would be consistent focused action is one of them. And I can say this vulnerably also because I have been talking about consistency for so long. And I found myself in situations, especially this year. I found myself, well, in the last year and a half, as I was going through other things in my life, that even though I was being consistent in action, the energy in which I was creating that action, the energy in which I was creating, showing up, putting out there was not consistent. So people tell me, yeah, but it doesn't work. My first question is always, well, how consistent have you been and for how long? I do that every day. Okay, fine. You do that every day. Have you always believed in what you were doing every day, or were you doing it just for the sake of doing it? How aligned were you behind that action? Has there been resistance, fear, doubt? Of course, our energy is going to go up and down. Of course, we're going to go through cycles of emotions. Of course, we're going to go through cycles of, hey, put your hands up because I'm right in there. I've dealt with, and I continue to work through self-doubt, imposter syndrome, sabotage, the whole works. This is part of the human experience, right? I'm no different than you. The question is, how consistent have we been with our energy? And I can tell you firsthand that that had a massive impact on my business. That had a massive impact on my bottom line. That had a massive impact on my cash flow. How strategic is the action that you're taking? Is it strategically sound? Does it have a strategic purpose in your overall strategy? These are questions you can ask yourself. Has your energy been focused? The second thing is purpose and alignment. For me, purpose really brings pleasure. As I opened this room, I spoke about those times that I remember like being part of my job, so passionate, so hardworking. I'm super committed in things that I do. But then I also developed a lot of resentment, anger, frustration for the industry, for things that were going not so well, and all of that. Now, I know that even in my own business, I brought on a little bit of that sort of toxicity, toxic patterns. And what I noticed is that I was building resentment, anger, frustration, mostly with myself. Yeah, at the end of the day, it comes back to you always. But in those moments when I identified that that I'm feeling frustrated, there's a little bit of resentment. Why? It's because I wasn't focused on my authentic truth. I wasn't focused on my bigger mission. And so I would get frustrated in my business because something was not working, or because someone was not taking action, or I was feeling resentment towards people for buying a program and not doing anything with it. That's not my job, right? So coming back to purpose and alignment, for me, coming back to that, coming back to the purpose, coming back to the mission, coming back to the vision, really brings us a new sense of joy and pleasure in the business. If we're doing things for the sake of doing things, so building on the first point, if we're doing things for the sake of doing things, we're quickly going to lose focus. We're quickly going to lose motivation, right? And then once our motivation dies down, so does the willpower, and so does everything else. Another thing about purpose and alignment, apart from it being pleasurable, so you actually want to create. Like, I want to create content. I wanted to create this community and this space. Like, it was really because this is in alignment with my bigger mission. And apart from that, I can also see for business owners and for businesses. I was working recently with one of my corporate clients who used to employ well over 120. They've just scaled down in the last year. However, comments that they would receive from the market, from their own clients, from their network would be, wow, your company really has a high employee retention. And what is it that every time we see a representative from your company, they're always so enthusiastic, so passionate, so loyal? Why is that? They're part of the vision. They have purpose in their role. They have purpose that is aligned to the corporate values. There is alignment, right? So whether you're a solo entrepreneur, or whether you're building teams, or whether you're thinking of hiring someone into your team, like these are things that we need to remember as part of sustainability. Another point that I want to mention on purpose and alignment is just some backstories of mine when I was doing fundraising, for example, fundraising for causes and projects. And these were always very successful. I think in one night I managed to raise 10,000 euros from one event. And I thought, that's pretty good. What happened? Did I do anything very special? Well, it was a very strategically outlined, very strategically crafted event. Yes. I ticked all the boxes in terms of, well, I actually had to decline people to say that it's sold out and that I don't have space to let them in, because we could have made a lot more than 10,000 for the cause, for the foundation. But I looked at how sustainable is it financially? What is the impact? What are people going to experience when they come in, right? And what are they going to experience as being part of this? And I led them into the mission. And this was successful because I was also behind it. My energy was behind it, my actions, I was in alignment, right, with the cause, with the purpose. So the third one is balance. Creating balance in our life. When we're doing too much of one thing, when we become obsessive on one thing, what happens is that whilst focus is amazing, we tend to shut out everything else. And we are human beings who need more than just the work. We need human touch, we need nature, we need to move our energy. And so for me, the last and final, especially when it comes to our own leadership, how we're leading ourselves so that we can be better leaders for others, is really on daily having something where you are out of your workspace, moving your body, moving your energy, maybe changing environment. Changing environment could be literally like changing, going, even working from outside, or going to a different place, or just creating that space where you can go for a walk, meet a friend, make a new connection, expand your networking circles, expand your social circles, stay alive, break the monotony, because this is what keeps people stuck. If we're constantly, yes, I talk about consistent focused action 100%, but if you're always doing the same thing, this could then bring on boredom, lack of enthusiasm, not seeing the bigger picture, not getting inspired, not activating. So again, this is why I'm bringing these spaces together. So hopefully, I know it's the Christmas week this week. A lot of people are going to hear this on replay. But this is what I'm really looking forward to in 2023, is to continue growing this space and to continue to provide opportunities for everyone to speak, to share their insights, to share their wisdom, to connect with one another, to learn from each other, and to be yourself. Like, this is a place where you can be yourself. This is not a scripted place. This is not a scripted place. We get to relax. You don't have to worry about looking good. You don't have to worry about whatever you worry about when you come into the public spaces. This is just for you to express. Okay, so for those of you, especially if you've been in my space, you know how important I keep talking about visibility, how important that is, getting in front of new people. You never know where your next client is going to be. You never know where your next partner is going to be. You never know what's going to spark the next collaboration that is going to change the trajectory of your life or of your business or of your client's life. This is a community where we come in together, and that is that's part of the co-creation and collaboration that I wanted to be part of and that I wanted to lead myself. Anyone in the room would like to pitch in their own success secrets that they found works for them, any stories, any questions, anything you want to share, put in the space. Please raise your hand to it's 10:30 now, Central European time. This is Friday, 23rd of December, jam packed in the middle of Christmas activities and festive activities. This is Conscious Leaders in Business. We're talking about sustainable success secrets and stories. All right, let me know. Okay, you just need to unmute yourself. I'm gonna wave at you. Invite to speak. Henrik, I've sent you an invite. You just need to unmute yourself and accept your invite. All right, here we are.
All right, I think there's sound, right?
Yes. Hi, Henrik.
Hello, everyone. All right. I would like to share my view of success and, a little bit of my core 6 life principles to living a successful, in my view, and balanced and productive life. So, let me start by just saying, introduce myself real shortly. My name is Henrik, and I'm a yogi and empowerment coach. And 9 years ago, I were in the famous burnout situation. And before that, I had suffered from depression and even being suicidal at one point in my life. Well, I think I will tell you a little bit about that later on when I go through my stuff here. But first, I want to just share what success is for me. And success is really something you could describe in just one word for me, and that is happiness. True happiness that comes from within, that doesn't need an outside source. And if you are like me, having a really active mind, often than not an overactive mind, that can be really hard to experience because the mind is always jabbering around. So that leads me on to the next point. That is, what is the obstacle for this? And that is the mind, the ignorance of who we really are. So our identity or false identity, that I would say, we have wrongly identified ourselves as our body and our mind, or the content of our mind. So I want to share a little bit about the overactive mind and sustainability. And to have this, from my perspective, you need to have a clear understanding of what the mind is and what your awareness is. You need to learn how to separate those two. They are not the same. But as I stated earlier, by ignorance, we identify ourselves, which is the awareness. You are your awareness, that are aware of something in your mind. And if they get attached to each other, you believe that you are that content of your mind, whatever that is that you are currently experiencing, that you are aware of. So, for instance, if someone says something to you and you become angry or hurt, this, if you are identified with the mind and your reactions, you automatically take your awareness unknowingly to the area of being hurt or feeling anger. And you think we can even see it in our language. We used to say, I am angry, I am sad, or I am hurt, but that's not true. You aren't any of those things. You are experiencing anger, you are experiencing hurt. It's not the same thing. You aren't those things. And when you learn to separate your awareness from what it is aware of, you now have the choice to take your awareness with your willpower and take it to a different place in your mind, preferably an uplifting area. And this gives you actually, this is the only time you really have free will. Otherwise, you are governed by your subconscious mind and your patterns that you have done before to save yourself from hurt, to save yourself from anger, and all these things. So it's imperative to understand this, and not only intellectual, even if that is the first thing, but also how to practically do this at all times. That is the goal. So I want to give you a short but clear explanation of how I defined the mind, which is the same way that Dandapani does. So if you don't know him, you can search for him. I want you to picture the mind as a container, a really big container, or a house with different departments or rooms. This container is completely dark. You can't see anything in it. And that is basically the mind. It is a storage facility where you store all your past experience and all these things. Everything exists in there. Now, I want you to see the awareness or your awareness as an orb of light that moves in your mind in this storage facility. And it moves to different rooms, and usually it moves automatically as a reaction to what's happening to you, or what you perceive is happening to you. This is the subconscious pattern of behavior. It takes you to a special room, in the earlier example, anger or sadness or whatever. And then the longer you are in that room, which means the longer you hold your awareness in that room, the more you light up of that room, the more you see it, the more you experience it, and the more you attract more things that is energetically aligned with that feeling, which means those that are angry get more situations, people to make them more angry. And of course, it's the other way around as well. If you are positive or happy, then you get more of that. So now we can, I hope you have a little bit better picture of these two things. So without your awareness, which is what you are, you will not see and experiencing anything. So whenever you notice what you are experiencing in this moment, as soon as you're noticing that I hear this sound, I feel this feeling, then you have distanced yourself. You have separated your awareness from what you are aware of. Now you have the choice to move your awareness, either stay if you want more of that, or focus your awareness by the act of concentration and willpower to hold it in a different area in your mind. And the thing here is that wherever your awareness goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, you magnetize that area, that room in your mind, and then you attract more of that. So that this is the manifestation process, really. This is how you can consciously choose what you create in your life, by focusing your awareness on whatever it is you like more of. Hopefully you start to get the importance of this. So I will very shortly describe my 6 life principles and why they are my principles of life. So like I said earlier, I were depressed, suicidal. I didn't have a purpose and meaning with life. And I really stood at the edge of death and looked into the abyss and felt that there was something missing in my life, but I wasn't finished. I just needed to live my life. Well, I needed to live my life because earlier I was a people pleaser. I was so insecure of myself, so I just followed everyone else to fit in, which of course the ironic thing is that never did. I never felt like I fitted in because I wasn't myself. So how could I? So all this inner stories about myself led me to several kinds of addictions: alcohol, partying, food, sex, drugs, you name it. I have tried most things to get out of the pain of not living my life as I really felt that I should, to become my own leader of my own life, to make it more suited to what we're talking about today. Um, I have always had I guess, the same drive that you, Hannah, that always have pushed me forward. But what happens were that drive started to get less and less, or rather, it was focused on bad things for me, not sustainable actions. So it was still there, but it was focused on, well, what's the word? Self destructive habits, because I didn't understand this process that I talked about earlier, and a few four of the things I would talk about also, or the six life principles actually. So once I had my burnout, or as I call it, my spiritual awakening, which I think all burnouts are, you are awakened. A deeper part are awakened inside of you that tells you that you are not living your life as you should. This is not sustainable, not good for you. And it gives you a window, a space to really explore what will. And that was what happened for me. I ended or I quit my job as a preschool teacher. I ended my current relationship, moved back to my parents at the age of 26, with the quest to really answer the questions: who am I? Why am I here? What's the meaning of my life and all life? And a year after that, I found yoga. And inside of yoga, and I'm not talking only the physical part, I'm talking the whole spiritual system that is called yoga. And if you're not familiar with it, I suggest you look into it, because yoga is so much more than physical exercise. So what I found there was some really valuable. Well, first of all, I found that more that I was searching for, that it really exists, and you are here to find it. You are here to discover it within you, not outside of you. And they also gave me the tools, practices, a system, a path to get there. All I had to do is to follow those who already have done the path and shared the wisdom. So I started. And one of the things that I realized early on was that one of the biggest reasons that I suffered were because I was untrue. I tell untruth, or I was untruthful for others, but mainly for myself. I lied to myself about who I were. Both I lied that I was worse than I were, but also better when I wasn't. I ignored certain actions I'd made and so on. That wasn't aligned with who I really were, my core values as a human or spiritual being. So, truth, I made a vow that never tell a lie again. And because of this vow, as soon as I tell a lie for myself, I feel it. I get nausea. I know instantly that I lie. Accidentally, I also know when other people lie. Uh, so this is really helpful for someone that has always followed other individuals instead of listening to your own inner guidance. So I started to see the lies around me that everyone tell themselves first and foremost, because you need to tell them to yourself first to be able to do it to others. So they really are not lying to you, they are lying to themselves. And this gives you the opportunity to really embody the second principle, which is do no harm. Be kind, loving, and compassionate, especially to yourself. And this was a really big one because I felt like I was worthless, not worthy love, respect, and all these kinds of things. And I think many people do. And they have a hard time of really just accepting themselves as they are and still feel love and compassion, because we do what we do. If we hurt ourselves or others, it's not knowingly, it's unconscious. Otherwise we would not do it. So those two are my guiding light, which I always try to embody and be. And to do this I need the next four principles. The third one, which is really, really important, is concentration, which to me means to focus your awareness on one thing at a prolonged time. And then consciously you choose to put your awareness somewhere else or move your awareness somewhere else. That is concentration for me. This is how we focus. We move our awareness in our mind to a specific place and hold it there by the use of our willpower. And if you think about the importance of this, it's quite obvious, because anything you have ever done or will do needs concentration. Your ability to concentrate on what you're doing in the moment is what gives you the result you get. The better focus, the better result. So this, of course, includes everything in life, even spiritual goals like myself. And what we need to concentrate is willpower. So the next three parts are really important to train your willpower. So the willpower you train by using it. It's that simple, really. And to use it, you try to finish what you start. That's the first one. The second one is finish what you start a little better than you expected yourself to do. And the third one is do a little more than you think you can. So these four: focus your awareness on one thing at a time, finish what you start a little better than you expected, and do a little more than you think you can. The more you infuse these principles in anything you do, even doing the dishes, do it a little bit cleaner than you think you could, and so on. I think you get the picture. When you do these three of willpower, you train your willpower to become really strong, and then you can focus your awareness on the things that you truly want in life, that you love, the people you love, the things you want to do, and so on. And this is the six principles that I live by and try to live by every day and infuse in everything I do. Be truthful, be compassionate, loving, kind, focus on one thing at a time, finish what you start, finish a little bit better than you expected, no matter how long time it takes, and do a little more than you think you can. And this is not only my life principle, this is what I teach and try to empower others with, because this for me is true power, to know how to, and not only know intellectually, but also practice to move your awareness in your mind where you want it, to infuse your life with free will. And now I am done.
Henrik, that was so good. And I'm so happy that you came on to share that. Thank you. Seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing such value and such wisdom and sharing your story. I'm sure a lot of the people who are going to hear this in the future are going to resonate with many parts of this. And there are some things that I really want to come back to that you mentioned. And the first one is like when you speak about the unconscious mind and how we're basically self-hypnotizing ourselves. So not only have we been hypnotized by society, culture, parents, schooling, teachers, etc., on the way things should be done or the way we should behave, etc., but we continue to do that in adult life using the affirmation I am this or I am that, right? And so we continue to affirm and to repeat and to associate our being with these thoughts or feelings that are maybe in the moment, but they don't define who we are. um, and being careful with our language is so important. It's so critical to how we feel, how we move, the way we behave, the actions we take. So thank you for bringing all of that up. It's definitely served me as really good reminders, and I guess it's always this process, or it's a process. Full stop.
Yes,
It
it
is a
definitely is.
process.
Absolutely.
It is a process and it is a journey, no? So we go through changing the habits. Again, it's not something that happens overnight. Perhaps you take that decision, like you took that decision to go back home, etc., blah blah blah, and that asking yourself that question, who am I? That was the start of multiple events that followed, that had you coming back into alignment, had you coming back into your truths, had you coming back into radical acceptance and taking responsibility, so that then you can start taking different actions, right? So again, it's a big process, and I feel it's that process of, I don't know who this belongs to, but it's a process of who this I mean this what I'm about to say, this process of being unconsciously unconscious, and then you move into being consciously unconscious, and then you become consciously conscious, and finally you're consciously unconscious, right? So there's this process of um, not knowing, not being aware at all, and then there's the next stage where you are aware of maybe something you're doing or something that you're saying or something that you're feeling, or you're aware of the habit that you have created or the pattern that you have created, but you still do it, but you're aware of it, but it still happens. And then there's the next stage of actually being aware of it as it's about to happen. So it's like that rock that you keep on, um, that rock that you keep on tripping over, or that hole that you keep on driving into. It's like, okay, now I know that it's there. So now I'm about to drive into it, or I can swerve a little and go around it. And then it just becomes habit. You know that the hole is there, and you're going to avoid it. It becomes a habit. It becomes unconscious. You're unconsciously conscious that you're doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I can. So the consciously unconscious part is that you consciously reprogram your subconscious mind to do what you want instead of unconsciously created an unconscious behavior.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yes. So this is where you start to, because you've brought it to your awareness, now you have the responsibility or the option or the choice to change it or not change it. So
Yeah.
now
So
you're
what?
aware of it.
Yeah. So whatever you experience consciously is what you reprogram your subconscious mind to start to create a habit of. And this is why these four principles of focusing on awareness, finish what you start, and all these
Mhm.
things. Because what you do is you focus, you consciously choose to train your subconscious mind to focus on one thing at a time, finish
Mhm.
what you start, do a little better than you expected, and do a little more than you think you can, which means you will always grow. You will always becoming more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now you have the intellectual knowledge, at least, how you can actually do this.
Yes.
But you need, but you need to have the practical tool. This, well, really, when you really experience how you separate your awareness from what you are aware of, and then move your awareness to another place by your will, that is when the magic starts to happen. That is when you really start to feel powerful, because this means that no matter what other people do to me, for instance, I can separate me from the emotional reactions that tell me that this person is stupid and blah blah blah, hurt me, and all these things,
Hmm.
and just observing it, and then choose to move to do no harm, being kind, loving, compassionate, and so on. And
Hmm.
this will completely shift your experience of relationships, your close relationships, but also relationships in the bigger sense.
Hmm. 100%. I love that. And this is can you am I still audible? Because I'm getting a note that I have poor connection.
No, I hear.
Okay. So yeah, and another thing that I just want to reinforce before we close off this session, and I can see that we have Yeshua with us in the room. I've invited you to speak. If you would like to say a few words, you can join us on stage. Another thing that I want to reiterate is this: like your the core principles that you have shared with us is another reminder that this is all about stacking that effort. It's all about building things up, building momentum, building that effort. And so if I bring it back to the world of business, to the world of entrepreneurship, and whatever it is that you're doing, right? I think we can use these across all areas of life. Is that success is not an overnight thing. Hence why this is a process, this is a journey. Hence why the challenges and adversities and obstacles and all of these things that we put so much negative connotation on is actually part of that journey.
Yes, I totally agree. The bad or good or right or wrong is just relative. It's just subjective. And when you realize this, you can just move, how to say it, transcend them, and just see
Yes.
things for what they are. You see the situation, okay, you do it without the emotional reactions that tells you good or bad. You just see it for what it is, and then see how you can move to wherever you want.
Yeah.
And before I end my part of it, I just want to clarify one little thing about the question, who am I? And that is, the deeper part of that question is that there are no answer that you can tell yourself or others, because as soon as you do, you stop becoming what you are. What you are, the I, is experience of existence in itself. This is why it's a process. You need to keep experiencing that over and over and over again. You need to keep remind yourself, who am I? Who is this I that tells me this or that or blah blah blah? That gives you the freedom.
Yes, 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 yes. Because the moment we set in stone, this is who I am. This is the label I put myself in. This is the group I put myself in. This is the work that I do. Finished. Full stop. Like then there's no growth. Then there's no expansion. Then there's no experience. Then there's no realization. Then there's no journey.
It's
You've ended.
in
You
essence it
created. You
limits you.
created the end.
Yes.
Wonderful, beautiful. Oh, I'm just gonna read Yeshua's. No, thank you. Nothing to share. I've been following you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Yeshua.
Beautiful. Down here, I'm listening carefully. Thank you for being here, and hope to hear from you one day and get to know who you are or who you are right now and what you're doing right now. Thank you, Henrik, for the amazing insight and valuable share today, including your heartfelt story. I think a lot of people will be able to resonate with different periods and the mini stories that you have shared with us today. So thank you for being here, and best wishes for those of you who are celebrating Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas. And next week we'll be back on Friday at 10 a.m. I will be creating the room in the next day. We are going to look at 2022 and really review what that meant for us. What are the lessons that we have learned in 2022? What is it that we want to take forward, and what is it that we do not want to take forward? So I thought that this would be a really good topic to follow up today's conversation, because we often think about adding and adding and adding things, but what about removing things that no longer serve us? And how are we showing up in the new year? Not only like the things that we do or the actions that we take, but what past behaviors or past ways of thinking or whatever that are no longer serving us, that are stopping us from really moving towards our growth, so an expansion. So this is the conversation for next week. I look forward to seeing you again. This is Hannah Cremona speaking, business strategist and mindset coach for conscious leaders in business. If you would like to get notified on upcoming events, if you would like to also get notified on speaking engagements, please sign up to the link that I've pinned in the room, or send me a direct message and we'll get talking. Until next time, beautiful people, thank you for being here. I am out.